Ever wanted to try game mastering but for whatever reason have been reluctant? Just do it! Ever wanted some tips about running your first session? Just do it! Want some advice on just doing it? Then stay tuned for today's episode. Hello and welcome to RPG PhD. I'm Dr. Ben and today we will discuss just doing it. If you have ever wanted to give GMing a try, stop stalling, don't wait any longer, just get started, go out and GM your first game right now. I am here to urge you to give GMing a try. As a seasoned GM, I can assure you that there are countless reasons why you should take the leap and start crafting and guiding your own stories. First and foremost, being a GM is incredibly rewarding. You have the power to create an entire world and tell a story that is unique to you and your players. You get to be the one to bring excitement, wonder, and adventure into the lives of others. There is truly nothing like seeing the joy of your players' faces as they navigate through a world, situation, or encounter you've created. Furthermore, GMing is an excellent exercise in creativity. It allows you to flex your imagination and come up with all sorts of fantastic scenarios and characters, and allows you to show your own unique style. You'll have the opportunity to hone your storytelling skills and to practice your improvisation, as no adventure ever goes exactly as planned. But perhaps the most compelling reason to give GMing a try is the sense of community it creates. RPGs have been bringing people together for decades, fostering friendships and creating memories that last a lifetime. As the GM, you'll be at the helm of a group of people working together to achieve a common goal. It's a truly unique experience that is hard to replicate anywhere else. In recent years, there has been a growing concern in the tabletop RPG community about a shortage of GMs. With the increasing popularity of RPGs, there simply aren't enough GMs to meet the demand. I can hear your objections now, though. Those spoken or unspoken fears that plague our minds as self-doubt creeps in and insecurity takes hold.
Fear's the mind killer.
So let's address those fears and doubts head on. But before we launch into the fears, I have one quick aside, and this isn't for aspiring GMs, this is for the players. If you have someone who's interested in being a GM, then give them the opportunity. And when you give them that opportunity, be supportive, encouraging, helpful. Give constructive criticism and help them get better. We as players should be doing everything we can to nurture new GMs. Now, back to those fears. Lack of experience. Some players may feel intimidated by the idea of GMing because they have never done it before and don't know where to start. GMing can seem like a daunting task, especially if you have no prior experience. The thought of creating a world, NPCs, and encounters from scratch can be overwhelming for some. This lack of experience can cause players to feel like they are not ready or equipped to handle the task. But there is only one way to gain experience. Well, other than killing monsters, and that is to start experiencing being a GM. Resources abound when it comes to advice for new GMs and how to get started, some of which I'll discuss later in this video. But whatever you lack in experience, I promise you make up for in enthusiasm. Imagine a character so afraid to enter a dungeon that they never gain any experience and are stuck at level 1 forever. Don't be that character, be a bold adventurer and throw yourself into that metaphorical dungeon. Fear of failure or messing up. Many players are hesitant to take on the role of GM because they fear they will not do a good job. They worry that their players won't have fun or that they'll make mistakes that will ruin the game. This fear of failure can be paralyzing and cause some players to never take the plunge into GMing. GMing can require a lot of improvisation and quick thinking, which can be scary for some players who fear making mistakes in front of others. I understand this fear, but here's the thing. It's going to happen. There is no way to avoid it. Best to just embrace it. You are going to mess up. You are going to be unable to respond in a clever way. You're not going to always have the answers on the tip of your tongue. Sometimes your ideas will fall flat and your plans fail, but failure is how we learn. So look at what didn't work and make adjustments for next time. And you just repeat this process over and over until your failures are successes. Lack of confidence. Some players may lack the confidence to take on the role of GM and worry that they won't be able to effectively lead the group. The way to build confidence is to see that you can do it and know that you can do it And how do you know if you can do something or not? You try it. And the more you do it, and do it successfully, the more confidence you build. GMing is a skill or set of skills, and like any skill, it gets better with practice. Learn by doing, build that confidence. There are few GMs who are brilliant in their first game. I was absolutely terrible when I first started as a GM, but I didn't give up, I got better, and I kept honing my skills and my confidence, and my proficiency improved. You can do it too. So do it! Pressure to perform. GMing can feel like a high-pressure role, as the GM is responsible for creating an enjoyable experience for everyone at the table. First of all, you are not alone. Communicate with your players. It's important to have open lines of communication. Let them know that you are open to feedback and to suggestions, and that you want them to have a good time. This can alleviate some of the pressure you might be feeling, knowing that you have the support of your players. Remember, the mistakes happen. No DM is perfect, and don't beat yourself up over bad calls or plots. Instead, use them as learning experiences and try to improve for the next game. Fear of being judged. Some players may worry that they will be judged by their friends or fellow players if they don't do a good job as a GM. But it's important to remember that you have a group of players who are there to support you. Isn't that right, supportive player group? They're not expecting perfection from you, and they want to have just as much fun as you do. The most important thing is to try. Try and create an enjoyable experience for your players. If you have a group that supports you in this role, then they're not there to judge you or nitpick your performance. If you're feeling anxious about your GMing skills, focus on the positive feedback and be open to constructive criticism. If you do receive criticism from your players, try to view it as an opportunity to improve. Ask your players for specific feedback and use it to make your next game even better. And don't compare yourself to others. It's natural to compare yourself to other GMs, but it's not always helpful. If you have a favorite GM that has played for a while, I promise you that they are not the same now as they were during their first game. So remember that every GM has their own style and approach, and there's no one right way to do it. Practice makes perfect. The more you GM, the more comfortable you'll become. Perceived lack of creativity. Some players may feel that they aren't creative enough to come up with engaging storylines, characters, and environments, and worry that their game will be boring as a result. Even though I have probably never met you, I know you are probably more creative than you give yourself credit for. As a lifelong educator, I see it all the time in my students. I see the self-doubt, and in almost all circumstances, with a little push and some guidance, their potential and creativity comes pouring out. And usually, they just need to find a means to express it and to have others encourage and validate their creativity. This goes back to having a supportive group when you're running your first game. Challenge yourself to be creative by running a game. Lack of knowledge of the rules. RPGs can have a lot of rules, and it can take time to learn and understand them all. Players who are new to the game may be hesitant to GM because they feel like they don't know the rules well enough to do so effectively. Now, I think you should know some basic rules, like what is the resolution mechanic for your system? Is it roll a d20 and add, roll percentile low under a target number? What stats govern what checks? But even then, you have reference materials to look it up if you need to. And that's what books and the internet are for. And for your first game, maybe you can have a more experienced player act as your rules person until you get the hang of it. Learning all the rules for a game can take time, so don't feel you need to have complete system mastery before you start your first game, as you can learn as you go and have more experienced players help you along the way. It's okay for your first game to be slower as you are learning. Fear of being overwhelmed. GMing requires juggling multiple tasks at once, including managing combat, role-playing NPCs, and keeping track of the story. This can feel overwhelming for some players. The best way to handle this is to just do one thing at a time. Run each interaction, encounter, and moment in the game as they come up in sequence. Take each challenge as it comes, and don't try to do everything everywhere all at once. Start small. Don't try to create an entire world or campaign all at once. Begin with a one-shot adventure or a pre-made module. There are plenty of pre-made adventures, campaigns, and resources available that can help reduce the amount of work required to create a game. A pre-made module or adventure helps to keep things on the rails, like training wheels. Collaborate with players. Don't feel like you have to do everything on your own. You may even have another player track initiative, or some other game function that you can delegate to make it easier to run your first game. Time commitment. GMing takes time, especially when it comes to creating a campaign or adventure from scratch. Players who have busy schedules may feel like they don't have the time to devote to GMing. There are ways to lessen the amount of time it takes to prepare a game. Again, start small. Begin with a one-shot adventure or pre-made module that you can run with minimal preparation. Use existing resources. There are many tools available that you can use to save time. You can also use tools like random generators to quickly generate NPCs, encounters, and other elements of your game. You can check out my video here for some of those resources. Set realistic expectations. Be realistic about the amount of time you can commit to GMing. Don't overcommit yourself, and don't be afraid to say no if you don't have time to run a game. Consider delegating some tasks to your players, such as creating NPCs, or maybe even designing some of the encounters. This can help reduce your workload and give your players a sense of ownership over the game. Fear of being in charge. GMs are in charge of the game, and some players may not feel comfortable taking on that responsibility. They worry about making decisions that affect the game and the players, and may feel like they don't want that kind of pressure or responsibility. Remember, GMing, you're not a one-person show. It's an interactive process between the GM and the players, and everyone is working together to create a fun and engaging experience. The more you GM, the more comfortable you will become in your role. Practice active listening. As a GM, it's important to actively listen to your players and respond to their needs. By doing so, you'll build trust and respect, and your players will feel more comfortable following your lead. Set expectations. Set clear expectations for your players in terms of what you expect from them during the game. This will help you feel more in control and ensure that everyone is on the same page. Perfectionism. Some players may be perfectionists and worry that they won't be able to create the perfect game. They may feel like they need to have everything planned out perfectly and may be afraid to make mistakes or deviate from their plan. Remember that no one is perfect, not even experienced GMs. It's okay to make mistakes, and it's a normal part of the learning process. Don't put too much pressure on yourself to be perfect. Embrace improvisation. You don't need to plan out every detail of your game in advance. Allow yourself to be flexible and let the story evolve naturally as the players make their choices. This will take some of the pressure off you and can lead to a more enjoyable experience for everyone. Set those realistic expectations for yourself. Remember that learning to GM is a process, and it takes time and practice to get better. Don't expect to be perfect right away, and celebrate your successes as you go. Don't compare yourself to others. It's easy to feel like you're not as good as other GMs, but everyone has their own style and strengths. Focus on developing your own skills and style, and don't worry about how you compare to others. And as Salvador Dali once said, have no fear of perfection, you'll never reach it. The key to getting better at anything is to practice, work at it, and learn from your mistakes. Being a GM is no different. It takes time to develop skills and confidence. You'll make mistakes along the way, but that's how you learn and grow. Every failure is an opportunity to reevaluate and do better next time. Remember, being a GM is a journey, not a destination. It's a process that requires patience and dedication. You will face challenges and obstacles, but with each one, you will become a better GM. You'll learn how to improvise when things don't go according to plan, how to engage your players, and how to create a fun and engaging world. It's natural to feel nervous or unsure when you're first starting out, but the key is to keep going, to keep practicing, and to keep learning. But most importantly, it's important to get started. No one becomes a great GM overnight. It takes time and effort to hone your skills and become a master of your craft. So, if you're just starting out as a GM, don't be discouraged and don't be afraid.
Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering.
Don't allow insecurity and self-doubt to stop you. I believe that you can do it. So just do it. Give it a try. And I promise the benefits definitely outweigh the risks. Players, if you have a new or first-time GM at the table, then help them out. Be a helpful player at their first game. It's important to remind new GMs that they're not the player's adversary, that you're all there working together to create a fun experience at the table. As an experienced player, you can be a helpful player by answering questions, clarifying rules, and making suggestions when needed. Find a group of players who are willing to give you a chance. Talk to your friends and look for a group that will support and encourage you as you learn how to improve your skills. Finally, don't be afraid to ask for help. There are plenty of resources available for new GMs, including rulebooks and online forums and experienced players who are willing to share their knowledge. So what are you waiting for? If you've ever wanted to be a GM, now's the time to start. With a little bit of effort and creativity, you can create an amazing world and lead your players on an unforgettable adventure. And who knows, maybe you'll inspire others to do the same. Marie Curie once said, "Nothing in life is to be feared, it is only to be understood. Now is the time to understand more so that we may fear less." I hope you enjoyed this video on starting your first adventure as a GM. If you found this video helpful, then please do me a favor and hit those like and subscribe buttons. If there's something holding you back from being a GM and running your first game that I didn't talk about here today, or that you'd like to talk more about, then please post it in the comments below and then we can discuss it there. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Hey, what are you still doing here watching the end credits? Go and start your first game. No excuses. Go, go, go. Get out of here. Go.